George Wordwich's layout was a group effort. George's wife, children, and friends all pitched in. The layout is a combination of both scale and toy. Realistic-looking Gargraves track is mixed with Lionel accessories because George felt that the accessories, scale or not, were too much fun to leave out. The table measures 14 by 22 feet and is 38 inches high. There are 2 levels, and the top of the mountain is almost 5 feet high. George wanted his layout to tell a story.
We tried to put together a operating layout telling a story besides being an operating layout, and I think we've succeeded. The layout can be as simple to operate as just running 3 ovals around, but part of it was built with the idea we can run trains with command control. We can have 3 trains running on the same single type track that curlicues back and forth around itself. If you get 3 train collectors or train operators that think they're really hot stuff, give them 3 command controls and tell them, okay, we're going to drive around this layout. Let's see if we can keep from hitting each other. And it's quite a challenge to do that. So the layout really is not only a scenic story of our life, but is also a real fun thing to operate. We've inculcated both scale, whimsicalness of all kinds of things. However, we have so many things on there, the Lionel accessories that are so much fun for people to watch it operate. So it's really not only a scale layout, it's a toy train layout, and we run toy trains. We don't get too bent out of shape whether we're running the wrong engine with the wrong train, or when I run a collector set that I throw the wrong car in the middle of the collector set. Who cares? It's fun.
The layout is powered by 4 ZWs. 1 powers the upper level, 1 is designated just for the accessories, and the other 2 handle the trains and lights on the lower level.
I've used Gargraves track for the most part, and with Ross and Gargraves switches. However, the upper level layout is a testimony to one of my older layouts. It's all Lionel Super O. I wanted to keep something pure and simple. And the reason I didn't go with that over the whole layout is because I have this penchant for running big, long, streamlined trains. And unfortunately, Super O does not add conduciveness to that. We wanted a layout that ran silently, and we covered the table with this Berber carpet, and it takes all the noise out of the layout. And then we used mica flakes type snow to give it the sparkle. I've had great success using carpet. You can hear the clicking of the rails, you don't hear the vibration and everything like that. The layout, to be quite frankly, is everything I've ever dreamed of as a toy train layout. I live a very peaceful coexistence with my family, so there has to be room for other things besides my trains. I have a wife that not only gets involved, is enthusiastic about getting involved. She helped build the layout. She did all the scenery on the layout. I'm a ham fist with scenery, and my wife is just such an artist. She did it all. It just was amazing what she was able to do. We dragged the kids to train meets all over the country and inculcated them in vacations. That was the best part of it. It just wasn't to be a train meet. It was so we could take a vacation.
George operates both new and post-war Lionel. He is happy with the performance of both.
You can pick any time of year when you're building scenery on a layout, but winter is kind of a magical time with toy trains. It's also kind of a magical time for people. We have the city, the big city, the town. We have the mountain skiing where we've done it, and we have the backdrop of running the trains all the way across the United States.
One of George's favorite trains is Lionel's modern-era El Capitan with command control.
I think one of the prettiest sets anybody's ever built. It brings back memories for me because I got to work on that train when I was going through college. Acela is got to be the cat's meow as far as technology goes with toy trains. It does everything. You know, how many trains do you have that open the doors, talk to you, talk back to you, and everything like that? The Acela is just one of the neatest things that's ever been done. It's a beautiful train.
Modern era steamers include the Union Pacific Big Boy and the Wheeling and Lake Erie Mallet.
Lionel's detailing with their steam engines is just so outstanding. I just never dreamed that in a, shall we call it a toy train, you would have total scale train things. The operation of those engines has been just absolutely almost flawless. When people come and watch the trains run or run them themselves, they just are so amazed at what these trains will do. A Denver Rio Grande freight set from 1957. A train set that maybe Lionel should have offered with a Rio Grande with this super speedliner cars. A Halloween set, really a cute set, and what spiced that one up is we added the 1875 car, which is probably the hardest of all of the cars to find, and kids love to watch them. I love to watch them, and I was fortunate enough to be able to acquire a Halloween set a few years ago and acquire the 1875 car, so that was quite nice. We had the 50th anniversary set, which always was one of my favorites as a kid. But I was able to acquire the cars from a fellow that I was fixing his trains for him, and I said, you know, you've got some really valuable cars here. You know, I'll tell you what, I'll fix up all your trains and I'll trade you another set of passenger cars for everything and give you some money if you'll sell me those 3 passenger cars. And he says, I'll do that because they're not doing me any good. So I fixed up his trains. Then I was lucky enough to find the engines, a very nice set of engines that go with it. There's 2 Monon engines. They're probably as rare as anything that I've ever run into. The Monon engines were made as a fundraiser for the Indiana Transportation Museum. Unfortunately, they didn't sell a lot of them. Fortunately, if you bought them, you have a very rare piece. I don't believe Lionel's ever made F3s that in such short supply as those Monon engines.
Other rare items include the aquarium car with the gold circle and Tank 1 and Tank 2, the 6464 Rock Island with black lettering, the 2530 large door baggage car, the 6464-100 Western Pacific with the blue feather, the 53 Rio Grande snowplow with the correct A, the 2338 solid stripe Milwaukee Road Jeep, and one of the top 3 sets of the post-war era, the Canadian Pacific.
One of my favorite sets and one of my prides and joy, my Canadian Pacific set with the Skyline cars and the Manor cars, and I think that's the first time I've ever run the engines. And it's amazing that they've been sitting on a shelf for over 12 years and all we did was put them on the track and ran. On our anniversary, I was flying a trip to Toronto, Canada, and I asked her if she'd like to come along and celebrate our anniversary. And we got up to the hotel, she handed me this box, and there were these 2 absolutely pristine Canadian Pacific F3s that I wanted. It was, as most of you that collect trains know, the Canadian Pacific F3 is probably the most desirable of the F3s. I think if the older people that are into trains can pass this love of toy trains down to the kids, the hobby will be very good. There's always going to be the fascination with railroading. Railroads are going to be here forever. It's probably the most efficient mode of transportation you can have. My kids all got trains as soon as they were old enough to get trains, and I gave them good trains. I didn't give them junk. Every one of my kids has a 681 turbine set of some sort. Every one of them's got a F3 set, either Santa Fe or New York Central, with super speedliner cars. And even my girls have these kind of sets. They have, each one of them has a Junior Hudson set. And if I could give that advice to any train collector, go out and let your grandkids play with the trains. Then you'll know where they go. That's the last thing you want to see is see somebody take them off to an auction house after you die. My layout was set up both with to be operated command control or with the old block control system. With the advent of command control, you can give everybody that comes to your house a controller and say, here, run a train. It just makes for your involvement with the train so much nicer. In 1945, my mother bought this pre-war Lionel 1666. And I had that little engine for many, many years. In 1950, my mother bought me a 2333 Santa Fe with 4 freight cars. And I love trains. I've always loved trains. I worked for the railroads. Operating trains, it always interested me. And I had these 2 little boys, and the trains fascinated them. And so I said, we're going to get into this. And it's been a lifelong hobby for a relationship with the kids.
You know, as any relationship that a son and his father has, we went through, ups and downs, but the one thing that we could always connect on was both the operation of trains and collecting. That, I guess, common medium of communication created a special bond that he and I have, and I truly hope that that's something that I can also pass on between myself and my son. And I can tell you right now that I can see that bond already being laid between my son and my father. So it's really cool in the fact that it goes across the generations. My son absolutely loves to run trains. He truly has taken to a lot of the modern aspects of trains like a fish to water. He loves to run the command control. He's 5 years old and can truly operate a toy train as well as my father and I can. He grew up watching the I Love Toy Trains videos and grew up watching Jeff. Beginning with watching it through a DVD, all the way through being able to operate the Acela on our layout using command control. Lionel trains have been a very important aspect of my life since the first memories that I have had.
He's every train collector's dream to have a son that wants to participate like that. I've never bought a train on eBay. I've only, actually I've been to 2 auctions. I didn't succeed in buying anything. Most of the things I've bought have come at train meets, TCA meets for the most part. Really starting my collection by chasing down trains that way. Toy trains are a wonderful hobby. Share them with your family, and I mean the whole family. You'll love them when you're 70, you'll love them when you're 7.